People always say like it's your identity, but it's probably more than that. I don't know if it can be more than your identity, right? But it's like you spend so much of your time in the locker room with those people and so much time honing that craft.
Hey there, welcome back to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. I'm your host, Jan Simon, and this season we're raising the bar, diving into the passion, purpose, and defining moments of leaders who don't just aim high, they live there. Big ideas, real stories. Let's get into it.
All right, today's guest is a co-founder and CEO of Thrive CXO, a business catalyst firm dedicated to helping leaders and organizations scale with clarity, accountability, and impact. His journey is a remarkable one, from playing in the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals and Oakland Raiders to earning his MBA with the University of Illinois and stepping into business leadership with the same principle and team-first mentality that defined his career on the field. Now, through Thrive CXO, he works with visionary entrepreneurs and leadership teams to align structure, people, and strategy so growth isn't just possible, it's sustainable. His focus is on building healthy leadership teams, creating proven systems to scale, and developing leaders who make a lasting difference not only in the business, but in their communities. His mission is simple, yet profound, to elevate leaders as they can realize their purpose and leave behind an enduring impact. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Fred Wakefield.
Thank you. Wow, that's wordy.
Yeah, it was kind of long, but we're good. I think we kept it under about 30 seconds. Maybe it was a minute. I don't know.
That baby in half. Cut it out. Cut it all out.
Right, cut it out. We'll just say CXO. So Red.
If you want to know, call me.
Yeah. If you'd like to know more, call Fred. So Fred, where'd you grow up?
A tiny town in the middle of Illinois called Tuscola, Illinois.
Okay, were you a farm boy?
No, what's funny is most of my friends weren't either. I had a couple buddies, big farm boys.
Okay.
A couple of them still talk to every once in a while. He stayed on the farm. He's my ringer golfer as well. But for the most part, no. Small town, but did not grow up out in the actual cornfields.
Okay. Didn't throw bales of hay and stuff.
I did that a couple times. I got bribed into it one year. Mike, one of my high school buddies, was like, "Hey, want to go make some money?" I'm like, "Sure. What do you got?" Oh, stupid idea.
That was probably when they were still throwing them by hand.
By hand, same thing, walking beans. Anybody grows up back there knew that one. Detasseling, which at 6'6" at that point in time, detasseling, the corn's like right in your face. So yes, a lot of life learning experiences that kids nowadays probably don't do anymore.
That's crazy. Same town, grew up the whole time, or you
jumped around a little bit. I mean, when I originally was born in a probably actually a little bit bigger town. I don't know if they're about the same size, called Newton, Illinois, was where most of my family's from.
Okay.
Parents divorced at a young age, moved up that way, was there, but moved around a lot between there and the bigger town, Champaign, which is where the University of Illinois is at.
Yep.
I think my wife and I did the math at one point in time. I had lived in like 20 different houses.
Oh my gosh.
Between the time I was born and by the time I graduated college.
Okay.
Just how it worked. So I never really thought much about it.
Yeah. Brothers and sisters.
I have one brother, two half brothers, and two step brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is your blood brother, is he as big as you are?
No, he is about 6'2", 6'3".
Really?
Went a total different path in life.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And you're 6'7".
Yeah. We still haven't figured that one out. I've got a couple, my grandma always insists, she's like, you got a couple uncles, I've met them. She's like, they're like 6'5", they're like 6'2".
Yeah.
Right? Outside of that, there was no one else in my family that was over 6'3" or 6'4".
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Blessed for sure.
Yeah. Your mom must have drank a lot of milk or something.
Definitely helped the first career path. Well, that's the other thing people joke about. Back then, there was other stuff in milk.
Right?
Yeah. And, I got the right mix of milk is what
hormones
joke about, for sure. Yeah.
Whatever they were. When did you get into sports? I mean, how old were you when that started happening?
Yeah. So growing up in a tiny town, that's basically your path. You're either, well, now you're probably a computer kid or a sports kid, but back then only choice really being sports, right? There was a few other activities, I think, well, like Boy Scouts or things like that back then, but for most part of, you wouldn't be a part of a group, you were at least in a sport.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in a tiny town, you were in all of the sports.
Yep.
And so started playing at a young age. I remember football was obviously the first one that I could really connect to. I mean, I wasn't as big as I am now growing up. I had a really major spurt, probably going into junior high and then going into high school again.
Okay.
But was still always pretty good at that one.
Mm-hmm.
I even remember coming back and one of the stints when we moved away for a while, I moved back into town right before football season. Like, oh, the guy who gets all the sacks is back. And at that point in time, like, oh, that kind of recognition feels good. Especially when I'd been around it 6 months, right? And so found out really fast that when you're moving a lot and you're trying to make friends and want to get noticed, being good at sports was helpful.
Yeah. Did you play both sides of the line in football?
I did eventually, right?
Okay.
Like I said, small school. I'm just trying to remember back in junior high days, you know, playing a lot of defense. I don't remember a whole lot on the offensive side, but that's because defense was more fun.
Yeah. You just put your head down, hit somebody.
Yeah, the world of jumping back and forth didn't happen until high school. But once I got to high school, man, I think we had 76 people in our graduating class.
Oh my
so
God.
smaller town, smaller school. And so, I mean, at my size, you had to play both ways.
Yeah.
So mostly offensive line. And
Okay.
I actually played middle linebacker of all things at 6'6", 6'7",
No
which
kidding.
was hilarious. Yeah.
Just
I
put your
used,
arms up.
I used to be able to run, right?
Okay. Just put your arms up.
Yeah.
Stand in the middle of the field.
Like I said, it's 6'6" or 6'7", small school.
Yeah.
I was bigger than a lot of people.
Okay.
Right? And so being able to run and do that just was really advantageous.
What other sports?
Played basketball.
Okay.
I think my freshman year of high school, sophomore year of high school, I really thought that would probably be the path at 6'6", 6'7". Well, then I started realizing, okay, most of those guys that play in college are guards, and dribbling was not one of my major skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
Still loved it. Great sport. Man, baseball, I was terrible. I think I had 1 or 2 years of baseball. So then I gravitated to track. I had a Stan Winky, very influential coach and person in my life. He was the one kind of helped me kind of guide through the football thing. So he noticed me as a freshman in high school. And he's the one who's like, okay, you're not playing baseball. You need to go play track. Play track, run track.
Yeah.
Right? So
What events did you do in track?
I was a sprinter of all things
Kidding.
back then. Yeah.
Wow.
So my junior year went to state in high jump, 4x2. I don't remember. There was another one in there too. I don't remember. I went in 3 different sports
Wow.
or 3 events that year.
Okay.
And then my junior year, all those guys graduated and I needed to go put on weight before I got ran over at Illinois. And so, because at that point in time, I was probably 6'7". They say 215. That's generous at that point in time. So I went and basically spent that next year training, but used to be able to run.
Wow. If you don't mind me asking, if you remember, what was your 40 when you coming out? You remember in high school? Because
I would say in high school at that light, I was probably just under a 5, right? Because I mean, I remember my strength coach was my football coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once he started learning what I was going to need to do at the University of Illinois, he started implementing that into our programs. And so I remember pretty early on in my career, my high school career, like he was starting to put together like Olympic lifts and training and biometrics and stuff, which, I mean, I don't know how many coaches were doing back then, right? And so that was phenomenal to get that kind of training experience, but still, you don't develop that type of muscle until you go to college. Now it's different. I mean, kids now are training since they're like 4.
Right. Well, and I was going to say, especially at a small school. I mean, I grew up in a really small school. We didn't really have a weight program for football. I mean, it was show up and here's your place. Oh, we lost. Here's different place for next week.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second. I don't remember the ones we had last week.
Yeah, we were blessed. We had really good, both offensive coaches, defensive coaches. I mean, I remember our defensive coordinator. We actually had a defensive coordinator in high school at that point in time. And he would come a different scheme every week, right? And it was really cool how we were able to kind of transition and change, which made it more fun, right? And so that was really great. And then the next couple of years after we had graduated, that my high school coach for I don't know, sorry, Wink, if you ever listen to this, but like, I don't know how many records that team broke over the next few years of the different offenses he put in place. I mean,
no kidding.
he started going to the empty and what was it, run and shoot or whatever they called that, like wide open spread offense, which was, like I said, unheard of at the high school level at that point in time.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I mean, it sounds like pretty early on you started focusing football direction. Were you in band, good student, get yourself in trouble?
My band experience lasted about 2 days in like 7th grade. And I was like, nope, they don't have this gene. So I passed that one on. No, I was really involved in high school. Eventually was class president, student council, different clubs. I mean, I stayed involved.
Nice.
Like I said, any way I could just be out around people, right? And especially, like I said, small town, it's how you survived.
Yeah.
And it was just different there. I mean, I look at my kids who grew up out here for most of their lives, and it still happened to an extent, but like these bigger schools out here, it's just so much more.
Oh, it's crazy.
Access, right?
Yeah.
Back then you had to be involved in everything so you could kind of figure out who your people were.
Yeah. Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. Graduated high school.
Eventually. No, just kidding.
After 8 years, you were an overdeveloped teenager going into college. Did you go straight to University of Illinois or did you go?
Yeah, so I had a few different options. It's funny, you think about recruiting now and it's insane. Everybody posts and tweets and all these different things, right? Back then you still got like physical letters like sent to you when you were being recruited.
Yep.
I still think back, and my mom probably still has a stash somewhere. I had like this case with just all the letters I got from everyone at one point.
Oh, wow.
And so started getting recruited pretty heavily my sophomore year. Junior year got more focused. Senior year kind of bled more into kind of those 3 or 4 schools I really wanted to go to. ironically enough, the school that I despise the most, Iowa, was the first one that offered me.
Oh, wow.
Ended up going to Illinois.
Okay.
Still talk trash about Iowa consistently, even though 2 of my very best friends coach there now. It's just more fun than anything.
Yeah.
But went to Illinois, and actually, when I went to Illinois, I thought I was going to go on defense and actually went as a tight end to start.
No kidding.
So I was tight end for the first, week or two before they kicked me out of there.
Okay.
And basically what had happened was a couple D linemen had gotten hurt. And so like, hey, we need some help on show team stuff because as a 6'7", 215-pound freshman, you're not going to play a whole lot of real reps, right? So went down there and just started creating a lot of disruption. So the coach was like, we're going to leave you down here.
Make it really tough for the 6'1", 6'2" quarterback to throw.
I know, right? I mean, I remember a couple of the assistant coaches screaming at me consistently, but I'm like, I felt like I had to prove myself for a while, right?
Yeah.
So just kind of went and grinded through it and got a lot of fights and stayed on the defensive side through the rest of that college career.
Nice. In college,
Mhm.
Tell me what kind of student you were. I mean, obviously you're an athlete.
Yep.
You seem very astute and smart to me now.
What are you saying? What stereotype are you getting into here?
Were you a big dumb lineman? What I mean, was school fairly easy to you at that time, or did you have to work really hard to keep both the
No,
piece and student?
I'll tell you this over again. I know that I'm very blessed. Like I said, 6'7", 215 at that point in time, could run, but I was also a really good student. I missed valedictorian by a B+ in high school.
Oh, wow.
It's funny. I ran into that teacher like 4 or 5 years ago. We were back in Illinois, and he had no idea. And he's like, "I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "Why? Like, you gave me the grade I earned."
Yeah, right.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, it was college prep English. Is anybody good at that one? Right. So missed valedictorian by B+. So when I went into college, like I had good study skills and kind of knew how to manage different things. And so you had to get used to like other things though, like study hall and people looking over your shoulder all the time and just making sure because you are with a bunch of knuckleheads, right? And so you have to kind of prove that you are a good student to start, but
Gotcha.
I was always a pretty good student and really focused more on school early because I didn't think I was going to go play in the NFL. I mean, even when I played back then, most guys didn't show up thinking, "Hey, I'm going to the NFL." So that's not how we were wired back then, like now. It was more of like, "Hey, I'm going to go and be a really good college football player and get a degree and go get a job."
Yeah.
And so I was much more focused. At one point in time, when I was going through college, I thought I was going to go be a chiropractor. So I was
Oh, really? Okay.
Funny thing is, I started doing a bunch of interning even in my junior year, and I started to realize people are terrified of me. You walk into a room with
You're going to do what?
a 60-year-old lady who's tiny who sees me like, you will not touch me.
Yeah.
Do not try to crack me.
That's awesome.
So then started to realize I probably need to pick a different career eventually. But yeah, so early on, good student, stayed a good student through, but it wasn't until I think my sophomore year that I started having an understanding that, wow, people really think I could have a chance to go play in the NFL. And that became a little more focus.
Yeah. What does that look like when you're in college? And I mean, you're obviously a freshman. You're kind of a nobody. You're getting yourself acclimated. There you go. Say that word was there somewhere. Acclimated. Maybe by the end of your freshman year, there's some notice. You might start putting on some weight. I mean, you get to that point where your body's. I mean, nowadays I feel like I don't know what they're putting in our food, but the kids these days, I mean, by the time they're 18, have full beards. It's 30 before I can even grow.
We laugh about this, but I saw a video the other day on one of the social media threads where they were showing like Penn State's like roster from like 88. And he's like, these people look like everybody's dad, right? Because they had like full mustaches.
Oh, yeah.
So I think maybe it's come full circle again.
It's so funny.
But yeah, so the interesting thing when I was playing, right, I just wanted to be really good at playing defensive line, right, at that point in time.
Yeah.
This episode of Above and Beyond is brought to you by the amazing sponsors who help bring this show to life. A heartfelt thank you to Above Par Network, elevating connections and creating impact. Foundation Insurance Services, protecting what matters most with confidence and care. Meritum Credit Card Processing, empowering businesses through expert consulting and unwavering support. And Rocks and Calligraphy, bringing beauty and personal flair to every handwritten detail. We're proud to partner with these outstanding businesses who share our passion for excellence. For more about our sponsors and exclusive podcast content, visit abovebeyondpodcast.com.
And Coach Ron Turner and I were at a...
Were you
Go ahead.
defensive end?
Yeah. So I'd moved to D end.
Okay.
Whatever, they kicked me out of the tight end room.
Gotcha.
Went to defensive end, and Ron Turner and I were at like, I don't remember, like a Kiwanis Club luncheon thing in Tuscola. And during the event is when he made a comment. He's like, Fred's going to play 10 years in the league. And I was like, no kidding. right? Had no idea. And then it kind of clicked. And so I remember going to meet with him like a week or two later in his office, like, you really think this? Like, yeah, you don't realize this. I'm like, I had no idea. I just want to be a good player. Right. And so it wasn't until then that you really even understood that you could be pretty good. And you realize we didn't have the same social media outlet. Yeah, I talked to the news people all the time. I just thought that's what you were supposed to do.
Right.
And it wasn't until probably my junior year when you start having agents reach out and trying to kind of set up time to talk to you in the off season that you're like, okay, I guess I'm better than I realize I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was different, but there were some weird steps that we had to go through. I got really, really sick my sophomore year of college. We were in training camp, and I don't know if this is one you read, but it's a kind of an interesting kind of battle story that I had to kind of navigate with. Showed up to camp and I'm like, wow, I just don't have the energy. And at that point in time, remember I told you I was a runner, right? Like I was the guy in what they used to call gassers could do. I don't know. We would do, kid you not, like 24 gassers in a day and I'd be fine, right?
Oh, wow.
And then all of a sudden we're at training camp and I'm like, I just can't catch my breath. Like what's going on? Well, they're like, hey, you know what? We were thinking of bronchitis or something. So they sent me out of practice for like 3 or 4 days to kind of evaluate it. And then they're like, all right. And I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to go back to practice that day. We just got back into Champaign and I'm like, something still doesn't really feel right. I don't think I should go run. And they're like, well, let's just go get you tested. So they go do chest x-ray and come to find out my heart had enlarged like double or triple the size it was supposed to and was resting on my diaphragm.
Oh my God.
So they immediately checked me in to, I don't remember if I went to ICU, but I remember just immediately getting checked in, right? IV stuck into me, anti-inflammatories, going like crazy. And they're like, you had caught some virus that affected and enlarged your heart. Pericarditis, I think is what they called it back then.
Wow.
Like we could either drain it or we could just start a regimen to kind of start decreasing everything. Well, I went from being ready to go, excited about that sophomore season, ready to start and play, to where I lost like 25 pounds in like a week.
Wow.
Fortunately, through the doctor's help and just catching it, thank goodness. Because like if you would have had a collision with that kind of mass going, like who knows what could have happened, right? So ended up catching it, lost a bunch of weight. Somehow or another, I came back like week 6 or 7, probably shouldn't have, hindsight being 2020. Was still able to play through it, but that was one where you're kind of like, whoa, like, I mean, you're a college kid playing, D1 football. Like you feel pretty invincible.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, okay. That really kind of smacked you on your butt and makes you realize you kind of take a step back and evaluate things. Yeah.
Did you at that point think your career was starting like moonlight, or was that even?
No, the weirdest thing is like once I got out of the hospital, I was like, okay, I'm going to be fine. But I remember the worst thing is like I'd go out to practice and obviously couldn't practice. And they'd be like, all right, just walk around the practice fields for like 3 laps. And you're like, all right, this is boring. What am I doing? Half a lap in, you're like, oh my gosh.
You couldn't breathe.
You're like, why can't, this is ridiculous. I mean, at this point in time, it'd only been 2 weeks since I've been on the practice field, 3 weeks maybe. And so it's not like it'd been forever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you start questioning, like, how am I going to get back to a point where I can like run again? Because at that point in time, I'd never taken time off. I mean, you went from football to basketball to track to run around like an idiot through the summer.
Yeah.
And then you're in camps all summer long. And then you just kind of went through that cycle that you were never really out of shape. And now you're like, whoa, I am really, really out of shape.
Yeah.
And so there was moments where you're like, how does this even come back? And just Al Martindale, who was freaking awesome, he loved to talk all kinds of trash. He was our trainer. And he'd always be like, dude, you're going to be fine. Just relax, right? And each day you'd kind of push me to do a little bit more. And over time, just really kind of made a difference and you figure it out.
That's awesome. So that's your sophomore year. You came back week 7, 8?
Something like that. I mean, it's fuzzy at best.
And then coming back into junior, senior year, did you play both your junior and your senior? Or did you exit early?
Nope, I stayed.
Okay.
Was not that guy. When I look back, I don't remember a whole lot of guys being that leave early guy. I mean, we had one guy, Justin Smith, that trained with us. He came out a year early. But other than that, I felt like it was way more rare back then.
Okay.
But yeah, ended up playing out those last couple of years. Really good season our junior year. Decent season. Well, I had a good season. Our team didn't have a great season. My senior year was supposed to be like the 9th or 10th defensive end in the country coming into the draft that year. And so everybody, my agents were like, you're probably going to go late 3rd, worst case, early 4th round. And then I never got drafted. So it was kind of one of those like, what the heck freaking happened?
Yeah, we sat through Cam's draft party for the first day, and it's like you're kind of waiting. It's like, okay, well, the second day comes, and obviously he got drafted, but now it's just as bad because they drag it out for like 4 days or 3 days or whatever it is now. Forever.
Yeah.
So what's in your period, in your growing up, let's say from elementary school through high school and then into college, did you have anybody along the way that either had to sit you down and say, look, you got something special, but you're going to need to take care of it, or kind of influenced you to think?
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned a couple times that people were kind of, that thought, but
I was really self-motivated, but I had people who leaned in hard. Or like I said, Stan Winky, my high school coach, I mean, he didn't need to go learn all that crap, right? But he like, okay, I see all these things I'm doing. I'm gonna go figure out how to do it. We're gonna teach you how to do it and kind of help mold you into that, right?
Yeah.
And then was just a huge advocate. I mean, no one was trying to recruit everyone out of tiny Tuscola, Illinois at that point in time.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, we've had quite a few D1 kids come out of there now, which is just a tribute to kind of what kind of a program they've built at that small school.
Yeah.
But Stan leaned in hard, super hard, right? So he was the first one. And then my D-line coach in the second round of coaches. So first was Lou Tepper, and there were some good folks in that group, right? Don't get me wrong, but Osei Lewis, who's now passed away, was my D-line coach. Same thing, where he'd kind of pull me aside. He's like, all right, you've got something. And so he would just lean on me, like grind a little bit more. And it got to the point to where he knew I was one of those guys he could kind of count on, right? So he leaned in pretty heavy. Ron Turner over those years just kind of kept leaning in. And so consistently had guys that molded me along the way. And so I realized the impact that strong, influential mentors can have, both, and in my football career, and it's happened in my post-football career just as much.
Perfect. With regards to graduating college, what is your degree in?
So I was a kinesiology major. Like I said, I was going to go be a chiropractor, and at first I was going to be an anesthesiologist was my plan my freshman year. And then I looked at how much school that was and tried to do that and play football at the same time. This isn't going to work. I got to pick something different.
Yeah.
And so pivoted.
Okay. And then did you end up going to post-secondary school, or did you do like a master's?
No. So played through high school, went to the pros. Once I got done with the pros, I went back and got my MBA.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To graduate college, you enter the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened.
No. It was
what happens
fantastic.
then? What do you do as a player? I mean, obviously you've probably got a group of people that's kind of pushing you in a direction type of thing. Do you then go to the combine? I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, so it's making me realize how much you don't know about this process.
Yeah,
the combine.
No idea.
The combine happens months before the draft. And so I was at the combine and had a bunch of really good interviews. And so I felt good about it. And I had teams I knew were interested. To this day, I've asked a few people. I mean, if anybody's listening and knows anything better, I really don't care anymore. So you keep it to yourself.
Call us and let us know.
But at that point in time, I'm really not sure kind of what happened in SLED. That being said, my agent, Mark Helligman, was fantastic, right? He immediately, I remember, because I'm pretty sure it was in 2 days back then, right? You did 1 through 3 and then 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? And so you want to talk about a long day.
Yeah.
And so that fourth round kind of goes through. I wake up that morning thinking I'm going to get a call pretty early. And now the phone's not ringing. I'm kind of like, interesting. In the fourth round, start getting some phone calls. Well, I get a little bit of phone calls here and there all the way through, and it just keeps going. It keeps going. Yeah. It gets to the point where my agent and I are talking, and we're like, 7th round, it's kind of better if you don't get picked up now, and then we can pick where you're going to go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. And so then you're kind of in this weird mode, though, where your pride starts setting in, and you're like, God, at least I didn't have some party with 50 people sitting there. That'd be worse, right?
Yeah.
But instead, you're still just kind of sitting there, and you're like, what the heck, man? I've put in the time. I did all the things I was supposed to go do, and I'm not going to get a chance.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here?
Well, and especially, I mean, obviously, you've already said this. You didn't have the social media and all that stuff back then,
right?
But you were still kind of getting told, maybe 9, 10 in the picking.
And at this point in time, guys, no offense to anyone out there, but started getting picked. I don't even know who they were. They were in the same position. I'm like, what is going on here?
Oh, wow.
And so then I kind of been like, all right, God, give me a shot here. And it's kind of the same thing, right? Going from small school to Big Ten school, a lot of guys, they wanted you to do well, but they wouldn't plan on you doing well, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. You go undrafted and then you go to the NFL, you're like, all right, here we go. Let's do this.
Show somebody that.
And so then it came down to where I had, 15 to 20 different teams wanted me to come in as a free agent.
Yeah.
And so then my agent and I started talking, like, hey, we're not looking at just whatever money they can give you, because at that point in time, it's changed compared to what all the other guys have gotten. It's more like, what's the best opportunity? And he saw that, the Cardinals, what they had from injuries and who they had drafted and kind of veteran players. He's like, this is probably a really, really good opportunity for you.
To get some time.
Yeah. To kind of get some reps early.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's what you have to do. Especially back then when you had 4 preseason games and a lot more contact and practice, you just wanted reps.
Yeah. Well, and there weren't as many soft touch rules, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how to.
That's what I'm saying. There was a lot more padded practices.
I was watching a video the other day. It just kind of popped up in my feed, but it was like, I think like Barry Sanders and Walter Payton and some of those guys. I mean, it was basically, real hits in the NFL,
for sure.
And it's like, it's pretty nasty.
Yeah. I tell people, you can't say this now, but when I played, I wanted to hurt people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it was designed back
but that's how it was. I mean, and I've seen different reels and videos and, football in the 90s, and you're putting the black under your eyes and you're like, hard acid rock metal going, and now it's like, and football today, and they're like painting their fingernails.
Like that's probably a meme out there. So
it is absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just it's kind of funny because I think about that. I mean, I think, and I'm a couple years older than you, I think, but I mean, I played in high school. I never played past high school, but I think about like the pads. I had these huge. They were probably like a lineman's shoulder pads, trying to throw footballs, and then we all had the. You didn't have the neoprene pads. You had
elbow sleeve. Yeah. It was like a giant pad on the end.
Exactly. And the hand pads that were like big old puffy.
Or the guys that had the full neck roll.
Yeah, exactly.
With your head.
The Bosworth neck rolls and stuff like that. So I just think about that. But you're right. I mean, guys were hitting. I mean,
for sure.
They're hitting today. But there's a lot more.
Oh, I mean, I've joked with my wife that just the amount of less hits you take. I mean, like I was a wedge guy forever, right? They can't do the wedge anymore. That's where probably 70% of my injuries came from that stupid wedge on kickoff return.
Yeah.
Right? Or just this less pounding in practices. Like if I could have made the team that first year, but because that's the hard part. Like I made the team because I grinded and took a lot of freaking reps. Every time there's an extra rep, I was sticking my nose in there all the time. I was literally fighting and battling all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what gave me my shot once I got here. But guy came into a good opportunity. I'll admit, first time I landed in Arizona off the plane from Illinois, I'm like, oh my God, what oven did I walk into? Because it was like June OTAs. But we just kind of walked into a really good opportunity and had to battle and earn a spot.
That's awesome. Do you have any good stories of when you were in the NFL?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, anything that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, one of you alluded to, I mean, there was, I know that I'm probably still rare, but there's more, but in all the positions that I played in that time frame, right? So came in those first couple of years, played defensive end under Dave McGinnis and that crew. We didn't win very much, but that group was fun. Fun group of guys to play with, fun coaches to play for. But man, we were a really bad football team back then. And so we had to find our own fun a lot, which usually came in practice. But Denny Green comes in. Well, so first off, you alluded to this one a little bit, but I'm trying to figure out how to start this story and not spend an hour and a half telling the story.
Oh, it's just
so, like I said, I came in as a defensive end, right? When I got here, I was one of 5 other people on 4th string. Does that make sense? So like your 4th string, just because they don't go past 4th string on the depth chart, you're basically one of however many people on 4th string. So you're just dying for reps.
You're on the bubble to possibly go pack your bag.
Yeah. And so every time you can get a rep, you're getting it, right? Even if it's stupid one-on-one bashing faces with an offensive lineman twice your size, like you're just trying to get reps so you can just prove that you belong out there and can play. Still to this day, don't know how it shook out, but I mean, eventually you get to the point where that first year, I played every single game. As an undrafted free agent starting, I played in every game and played in every game on defense at some aspect.
Wow.
Right. The next year was the starter on defensive end, played well through that year, got a new contract where they went from a free agent contract to a 4-year deal, which was awesome. Right.
Yep.
All because I had that itch to prove everybody wrong. But also I'm like, God, the first 2 or 3 weeks you're out there, like, okay, I know I can do this. This is not as intense as I was expecting.
Yeah. Got
there and proved ourselves within that next year, a down season, which at that point in time, I don't know what was considered a down season because we were rough, right? We weren't improving, I guess was the best way to bring it up, right? So then we knew that staff was on the way out. And then I'd had a couple concussions, had to sit out a little bit, and then came back and could play. But all of a sudden the coaching staff was like, hey, we've got to kind of prove ourselves. So these guys that we've drafted that Fred's playing against, like they need more reps and we need to show them that they can play. And so basically got benched for guys that I was better than. Right. And it's hard for me to say that.
Yeah.
That's not how I'm wired. But man, you're sitting there watching this consistently and just seeing guys out there and you're like, oh my gosh, he's getting killed. Right. And so you're sitting there and you're kind of battling with this. This is a professional sport. Like you're supposed to have the best people on the field. Right. But you start realizing that even at that level back then, there was some aspect of politics to it.
Yeah.
So then my playing time went way down. I played in the last game of the year. I'm pretty sure that was against the Vikings or Packers. So I played really, really well. And then that next year, Denny comes in. right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, new clean slate. Well, like second or third press conference Denny has, he's like, not sure what happened with Wakefield. Was one of the best D linemen we had. He's one of my starters week 1. I'm like, whoa, sweet. Right? So this is exciting. This is a change from pace from what I'm used to. I'm having to earn my spot every single year.
Yeah.
Well, then we go through like the first OTAs, and I broke my wrist and had to put a plate in. So I'm practicing through all these OTAs, like 3 weeks out of surgery with a cast on. Every time I have to come out, they have to cut the cast open and redo it because it smelled so bad. And my wrist would be so swollen. Like, I'm like, I don't care. Like I don't know how it is now, but back then, like I'm earning a spot again.
Yeah.
Right. Like I've got to play. So I go out and play. Well, then Denny walks through one day and he goes, you better not prove me wrong. I'm going to move you to offensive line. And I'm like, like whatever, like totally think he's joking.
Mm-hmm.
So play through the rest of OTAs and playing well, even though Deke Pollard, my D-line coach, yelled at me every day. You think I was playing terrible, but keep kind of grinding through. We get into camp and not really sure kind of what happened. Just had something weird happen with my foot, so I had a minor stress fracture. And so they're like, all right, let's leave you out for a week and then we'll evaluate it. So I sit out that week and they go to kind of do an x-ray. Like, all right, you're probably going to be out. I think they said 4 or 5 weeks. Well, then I get a call up to Denny's office, and that was a weird year. I don't remember why, but we were not in Flagstaff that year. We were in like Prescott or somewhere. I don't remember why we did that. But anyway, so I go meet with Denny. This is, I think, I don't remember what year we're running into now. They're all kind of running together. And he goes, I'm going to move you to offense. I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to move you out. So basically, we're going to sit you out this year. Basically, they're red shirt and you're going to learn the offense. And I was like, I thought you were joking. And so we kind of sat there for a little bit and he's like, no, like, I need you to do this. Like, just think you could have a long career as a lineman kind of. And at that point in time, you got to realize like the Dwight Freeneys of the world were starting to come in. And I was a 6'7", 285-pound run stuffing lineman. It was going away from that. So I was either have to move to like a 3 technique eventually, right? Mm-hmm. Or completely change. I just didn't know that was even an option.
Wow.
So spent that year basically redshirting, learning offense, putting on a bunch of weight. So then turned around that next year to training camp. And by the time we get going, I'm the backup at tackle and guard, or one of the backups.
Yeah.
Still end up playing. And I don't remember the numbers, but I'm pretty sure I played in every game at some aspect, right? Either special teams or on offensive line, but played in at least 8 to 10 games at guard or tackle. Yeah. And at that point, no one had ever done that, right? That kind of a transition while you'd already been a starter in the league was just crazy.
Yeah.
And then to stack on top of it, the next year we come out and I'm the backup for both tackles through camp. And about the second week of practice, he's like, hey, I'm going to try something. I'm like, what's up? I want you to we're going to put together like a jumbo package. You're going to play tight end. So you just report with your 78 number back then. I'm like, all right, fun. So we're doing this. We do this at the Bears preseason game. And they ended up running a ton that game. I'm like, that was fun. I can do that more. Don't think much about it. Well, then he keeps adding a little bit more in the rest of that preseason. We get to the end of that preseason and it's cut day. Mm-hmm. And I feel safe, like I'm playing backup tackle. And it was the first year I think I felt safe, not worried about getting cut. And all of a sudden he goes, hey, come here. I'm like, what's up? And you go get the 80s number. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, we're going to play you a lot at tight end. And so I'm like, seriously? I mean, I remember standing there on the field for like 5 minutes, like, you're serious? I'm like, who's going to back up a tackle if someone gets hurt? He's like, you still. I'm like, how does that work? Like, I didn't even know that was a possible thing. He's like, yeah, just like any other time, you just report like you do as a eligible. Now you go ineligible. I'm like, all right, well, no one got hurt that year, but I still played in every game at tight end, started at 5 or 6 games at tight end, and it just kind of kept progressing. And so I did that through that last season with the Cardinals, and then that staff got released. Wisenhunt and them came in. It was like the first week of free agency. I met with them, and they're like, we don't know what to do with you yet, right? And so we kind of need to see how free agency plays out. We'd love to have you back. I just don't know how.
Yeah.
And crazy or not, like the Raiders at the end of that week called me and they're like, hey, we want you to basically come over and do a tryout because we don't know what to play you, but we'd love to pick you up. Yeah. I thought I was going to be 2 months into the thing right before I figured out I'd get picked up, and they ended up picking me up as a tight end at the time. And then over that next couple of years, they bounced me around all over the place, and thus my body fell apart, and that was the end. Yeah.
6 years, 7 years?
8 total.
8 years?
Yeah.
8 years. And then you become an old man.
You know,
at the ripe old age of what?
You feel like
31?
You're a 5 or 6 year old man in those locker rooms back then, right? You're sitting there and all of a sudden you're the veteran guy everybody's coming to know the ins and outs of different things. But yeah, you age quickly in that sport. Unless you're Tom Brady or some of these QBs that play forever.
Yeah.
Even those guys that play QB, I'm like, the level of competitiveness those guys have to want to keep grinding like that is nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Well, I can only imagine. I mean, I wrestled in college. I didn't play football, but the level of commitment that you have to have. And there were plenty of days where I just questioned, why am I even here?
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, wrestling, where are you going to go? Olympics, basically, you know, or MMA or something like that. But now,
Especially if you're really crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, so I think about football. It's like, okay, you know, now you get to that level. It's like, okay, you've proven yourself. You've done well.
Yep.
You know, you've gotten a contract. You're coming to the end of your contract. What kind of conversations you have with yourself to decide, okay, I'm done with this and I'm move on to the next phase of my life? Or
Yeah, it got a lot easier for me just because of the injury situation, right? I mean, I had that year with the Cardinals where I had the plate put in my wrist, but that didn't really feel like I was sitting out because I was still around a lot and learning something new. But those last 2 years, the Raiders were brutal. I mean, I went in there, was playing well through camp, and they just blow out your ACL the first time.
Yeah.
Had a phenomenal surgeon. So, I mean, I actually could have came back and played that year.
Oh, wow.
If they didn't have the rule they have now where you can basically sit out for a while. So I had that whole year off. And then you turn around, they ask you to change positions again. And then just because your body can't do those same movements, like running towards someone, like to pass rush or stop the run and then chase down people, is way different than like pass protecting.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just such different movements for your body that eventually just kind of fell apart. And then that last one, I remember I was playing the last major injury when the wedge was still here, locked a guy up. This was home at the Raiders. I can't remember who we were playing against. And all of a sudden my shoulder dislocated through the front.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, and all of a sudden, like, I let the guy go and he goes off and probably made the play. I don't remember. Go back to the sideline. And I'm about to tell you, my shoulder went out. And as soon as I stand up, it plugged back in. And my wife said she could see from the sideline with my son. She's like, that wasn't good. Well, the weird part when it goes out through the front, like it seemed fine, but it tore so much stuff. I didn't realize it, that the next so many weeks, like your strength just diminishes. So eventually like, hey, we've got to release you.
Yeah.
Like, cause you need to go get this fixed. And so then going through that surgery process, like 2 years in a row, I remember sitting there, my wife, who ends up being your nurse, by the time you go home and you're cleaning stuff out, she's like, what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, I've had enough. Right.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty easy. It was crazy the next year when right before training camp, like I get a call from the Raiders wanting to know if I want to, my agent's like, hey, the Raiders want to know if you come back. I'm like, no. First off, I haven't even ran in 4 weeks, so I'd probably pass out.
Yeah.
I've not bench pressed anything in 4 months. Right. And so it was just, yeah, that was not going to be the phase. And so it was a pretty easy decision for us to move on.
How old were you when you got out?
30.
30. Okay.
Yeah. I say that really confidently, didn't I? Yeah. 30, 31, somewhere in there.
What did you have kids at that point?
Yeah. So my son was 2 weeks old.
Okay.
Sorry. Our son was 2 weeks old our first game.
See.
We still got a picture. He looks like a little alien out here in this Arizona heat and little onesie. And then my daughter, my first daughter was born while we were out here with the Cardinals. And then our youngest was born my first season with the Raiders. And so then I was home for like her birth for like a month, went back out. And then the next time I got to see them is when they were coming to ride with me to go get my ACL repaired, which was a whole crazy
Oh my gosh.
fiasco.
How crazy is
My
that?
wife's showing up to a new place, doesn't know anything. She's got a 3-month-old and trying to navigate a husband who's probably a bigger baby than the baby with a injury like this. So
Yeah. You ever met a guy with an injury?
especially doped up right out of surgery.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what happened after that? You got out of the NFL.
Yeah. So you get done playing. The funniest part is I remember early in my NFL career, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get these first 4 or 5 years and then I'm going to kind of have a plan, like what we're going to do next. So you get going and you're like, all right, I need to keep a job. So then I spent so much time training and studying because I wasn't yes, I'm blessed with a lot of size, but there was guys way faster, stronger than I was, right? And so you're always just trying to keep a job so you didn't think about it then.
Yeah.
And so then you kind of get to that like 6 or 7 year and you're like, okay, I'm going to get to 10. Start getting a little greedy, right? So then you get to that 7th year. Well, then all of a sudden that 7th year you get hurt and you're like, okay, I'm going to come back. I'm still going to get to 10. Well, they get hurt again. And it was one of those that people talk about this all the time. And I think the stat still is similar, but I remember when I was playing, they would say that I think it was 78% of NFL guys are in financial distress or some other major life event within 2 years being done. It's because contracts aren't guaranteed, right? And even when you get going 6, 7, 8 years, like you just don't realize how fast it's done.
Yeah.
Right. And so you get done, you're like, okay, now what? So with mine, it was easy. I had to go get fixed. Right. So I spent the rest of that next however many months getting, what was that? The shoulder fixed. And then over the next 2 or 3 years, had to do a couple more surgeries. But I lasted about 6 months into retirement. I love that word. It sounds great. Like I had a choice to be done.
Yeah.
And quit playing. but you retire and was like, okay, I'm not designed for retirement. What the heck am I going to go do? Right. Also, I had 3 little kids and a wife to support. And I'm like, okay, I didn't make NFL money like some of the stuff you see now that would just let on
Forever,
in perpetuity. Right. And so I needed to figure out what I was going to do next. And man, was it harder than I thought.
Yeah.
Right. You immediately are like, okay, what seems fun? I'm not going to go back to chiropractic school at this point in time. I'm so far removed from all of that. Not to mention I've got a plate and 6 screws in my wrist and a bunch in my shoulder. Like, probably shouldn't handle people's necks, right? And try to adjust people. It's probably not the
break
best
their head off their shoulder.
Hang on, let me put this back for you. And so then the search began, right? And it was, I still tell people to this day, I think I'm still searching a little bit, right? To try to really just figure out where I need to lean in. But quickly, I knew that I wanted to spend time with my family. Like I said, I had 3 little kids and a wife who'd given up everything for me to chase a dream for 8 years. And so I started kind of really thinking about, okay, what do I enjoy doing? And because I didn't know what I was good at that point in time. I was good at running people over for a living, right? Yeah. So now it was like, what's next? Gravitated to all the insurance guys, right? So my buddies, to this day, some of my very best friends are Northwestern Mutual guys. Like, those guys golf and travel all the time.
Yeah.
I want to golf and travel all the time. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
And so went into that career for a while. And I tell people, it was probably the best first step I could have taken. So all you guys that get done playing, I always say, like, if you weren't a business major, right, then go into something that forces you to go, like, learn and meet new people. Because that was the best thing from that, is that it forced me, their internship pre-early employment program really, really kind of broke me out to go figure out what was out there. Because instantly you're meeting with business owners or people who've sold businesses, people in different life transitions or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you just got to learn an entire aspect of everything that's out there. And the good thing is coming from what I did before, everyone wanted to meet with me the first time. Usually not the second time.
Yeah.
Right. My hit rate was really high for a first meeting, really low for the second meeting. But it really, really opened up kind of an opportunity to get out and meet a bunch of people and see what was out there. And so it really pulled me into an avenue where I'm like, okay, I like this business side. I don't know if I like the insurance side, right? Because I discovered that I get bored asking the same questions all the time.
Yep.
Right. And wanted to learn more and kind of get out there. Amazing or not, was pulled in with a group of guys who were all what I viewed as like influential business, early younger leaders.
Okay.
And we're like, we're going to go invest and buy companies and just do good stuff with what we can do. Right. Good people, good intentions, wrong mix. Right. One of the more painful learning experiences through my business career that I still lean on a lot was we eventually like, hey, we all agreed. We bought into this company back there. I had all the aspirations of knowing that this guy knew what he had done before and we were going to support him and build all these different things. And man, did we not do our homework before we bought into that one.
Oh, wow.
And so you just quickly start learning, conflict and team dynamics. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, half this feels like freaking locker room right now. Some of these conversations and arguments. Now, we weren't talking about each other's paychecks in the locker room as much, right? But you're kind of seeing how people fit and what's going on. And I'm like, hey, as much as that time frame with those people didn't work out, in that process, I'm like, okay, I need to develop my own toolbox. Like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
And so that pulled me back to go get my MBA. And so went to the University of Illinois executive program, because at that point, I'm like, I'm not going to go sit in 5 hours of class every day. That sounds terrible. And so they had an executive program where you had to have 8 years of experience in your field to even get in. And I remember talking to the admin people and being like, I don't have experience in anything. They're like, whatever, you've got a level of experience no one else in this room has.
Yeah.
And it took a long time, even after that, into my career, to realize how much value my time in the NFL and that level of success and the people you're around kind of molded and shaped kind of how I view and see things, right?
Yeah.
So it made a big impact, right? And so that was the early years of kind of the bumpy trying to figure out next and kind of led me towards the path we are now.
Yeah. Did you, when you were making that transition or the decision to make the transition and what you wanted to do and trying to figure out, what am I going to do when I grow up type of thing?
Oh, I use that all the time. Yes.
I still am trying to figure out, and I'm still an insurance.
I think we just had that conversation the other day.
Yeah, we did. I can only imagine, and I'm going to equate this to military. Not that I've ever served in the military, but having conversations with people who have, where you eat, sleep, drink, think, talk, and almost regimentally told, do this at this time, and this at this time, and this at this time, and this at this time. Do you feel like when you got out of that, when you made the decision, okay, yep, I'm done playing, and I'm going to go figure out life.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, or you're trying to figure out, okay, what I wanted to do. I can only imagine there must have been this feeling of like being lost in.
Yeah, people always say like it's your identity, but it's probably more than that. I don't know if it can be more than your identity, right? But it's like you spend so much of your time in the locker room with those people and so much time honing that craft. I mean, think about anyone else you know that's really successful in business, right? Yeah. The grind and the time and the commitment they put into that, it's become their identity too, right? But hopefully they've had an exit, they've moved on and done the next. Like that NFL grind to get to that point it's work, right? I think that the NFL does a good job now of trying to set up programs to prepare people for transition. I mean, I leaned into a bunch of different things like helping pay for your MBA and like identity kind of profile assessments they'll put you through. The one I did with them wasn't very helpful, but that's fine. But still, they have the good intentions of doing it, right? And like,
is it like programs? What color's your rainbow or something like that?
No, that was the Giants assessment back then. It's like 2 hours of like, do you want to be a dog or a cat? Weird things like that. But sorry. But if you go to, man, you lose my train of thought.
Sorry.
PTSD from sitting through those assessments at the combine. We were talking about transition,
trying to figure out what you want to do. The NFL helping you.
Oh yeah. So the NFL does a good job of helping you, but there's still just this element that unless you're the really, really top starter and your job's really not in jeopardy, like you're still not going to let up, but you can carve out a little time to go do other stuff. I mean, I will tell you, most of the guys like me who are every year battling for a roster spot, let alone a starting spot, like to even think about taking the time to go learn about real estate just seemed impossible. Right. So the guys, I knew 2 other guys who did it. I'm like, you're phenomenal. How did you go do this? And so to have that understanding, which is tough. So I'm assuming now it's still the same thing. Like these guys who are kind of in the grind of now, but it makes that next step really complicated. And it is like, as much as I hate to compare the NFL to people who serve, because like what they give up for our country is substantially more different than us to go run into people for a living. Yeah. It is the closest correlation. And so I got to meet a guy probably about 6 months ago, really, really interesting dude. He did like ordnance disposal. I'm like, does that what I think it sounds like? And he's like, yep. I'm like, I don't really need to ask questions. That's terrifying, right? Yeah. But he's the one who kept making the comparisons. I'm like, you need to stop comparing to what I did to you. He's like, no, but if we talk about the path that we've had to figure out kind of what's next in your life, it's that same kind of a transition of understanding and kind of rediscovery. Yeah. But again, I don't know if everybody gets this, but like I was really, really blessed with having people kind of step in and mentor me. Like I've told you, Northwestern Mutual, like Brian McCourt's still one of my good buddies. And he was just one of those guys who'd always be like, dude, just come do this for a while. Right. And as much as Northwestern Mutual wasn't my path, like the steps it led me on were hugely valuable. And then he and Kelly and Casey and I become very, very good friends over the years. And that relationship meant a lot, right? And then the next transition is I had another buddy, same group, pulled in a different way, was Tim Allen, not the guy from the TV show, different guy. And he's the one who's like, dude, you need to go get your MBA. Like you look at things differently. You understand business. You just need the tools. Yeah. And so he's the one that kept pushing me to go do that. And then once I went and did that, he was trying to pull me like, okay, go learn about this and go see this, and just really kind of helped hone this desire to go explore different things. Yeah. Right. And then my wife through all of it's been like, here, learn this. Ooh, this is something you'd be interested in. Right. So I've constantly had people lean into me. Yeah. That kind of help kind of guide different ways. And I'm probably skipping tons of people along that path, but it's one of the things that I know means a lot to me to try to do to others, because like when you can find that person that can really connect and help you in that discovery process, the value is exponential.
Yeah. Let's talk about where you are today. What do you do? CXO, right?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
So the easiest way, and man, I'm sorry if I'm telling too many stories.
No, you're good. Stories are great.
Well, people consistently ask like, how'd you get into this from playing in the NFL? So I made the comment, we went through those transitions when I first got done, and then I still just got more curious, right? That and the combination, once I got done with my MBA, I discovered the winters in Illinois. I love the people in Illinois. The winters in Illinois are not good. And so I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So Casey and I decide to come back out here. And in that process, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go learn what's out there. I've never taken a business hat. So good thing is University of Illinois has a massive network of very successful business people who want to lean into others. So they started to introduce me to a ton of people. So I came out and met with a bunch of people from that, different people I'd met through the Cardinals and just different organizations over the years, and just started re-networking out here. And then ironically enough, one of my teammates from college is like, hey, why don't you come learn cybersecurity? I'm like, I know nothing about cybersecurity. He's like, perfect. And so what I learned and going through that, I'm like, wow, learning new complex business models and new things is what I just love doing it. Right. And so dove into that head first, worked in that for a while. And then I just kept finding myself getting pulled into different areas. If it was manufacturing or fundraising or medical devices or financial services, like I started getting all this knowledge from all these areas and different things of sales or operations. And I'm going to say finance, very low level finance, and kind of understanding how business models work. And so it was probably like no clear path to what's going on. And then finally I just had that settling moment. I'm like, oh, that's why, right? You just have this knowledge across so many different industries and places. Like, how do you use this to help more people?
Yeah.
And so then about that time, a friend of mine out here reached out and he's like, hey, I know you do a bunch of consulting. I just need help. Like, my team is about to leave and I've not been involved for 5 years. I'm like, what do you mean your team? My top 2 people are going to walk out the door next week. I'm like, all right, can you keep them there till Monday? So I went over there, met with him and his team. We got everybody to stick around, started to evaluate what's going on. And over the next so many years, really just kind of stepped into like a fractional COO type role.
Okay.
And then next thing you know, another group pulled me into the same, and another group pulled me into the same. And so at that point in time, I was managing like 3 different groups. And I was like, this is fun.
Yeah.
How do I do more of this? And then we have a business partner. We're a client of this tool called Culture Index, which I talked about the other day.
Yep.
And I talked to my Culture Index advisor and I'm like, how do I scale this? Like, what am I missing? Like, I need some of my own medicine here to kind of talk through this. Introduced me to my business partner, Tim. Tim and I met and we hit it off right away. Like, he was doing a lot of similar things in other groups. And so we spent the next year kind of working on the same projects together to kind of start developing our own model. And so Thrive CXO was born out of that. And it's gone through a couple iterations. No, we do not have a website yet. I hope Tim's listening to this so I can give him a hard time because that's what he's working on right now.
For the last 2 years.
He's gonna be like, dang it, you called me out on air. It's brutal. No, but we have
Thousands of listeners.
If we would have launched this in December, January, when we played on it, it would have been totally different. And so even like what we do with our clients, which I'll explain here in a little bit, as we're walking through this journey and kind of evaluating our own model and how we're dealing with clients, we're like, this isn't going to work. And so we had to kind of come to the moment of like, all right, do we completely pivot now or do we do like small shifts along the way? And along with kind of how some of our team members were working and how our client engagements were going, we're like, we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off. And so probably 3 or 4 months ago, I think I mentioned this to you, we just ripped the Band-Aid off and completely changed how we're doing it and how we're delivering it. And so I give him a hard time, but if we would have launched it, he would just had to redo it. Right. And so now what we focus on is we help leaders take the next step.
Okay.
Right. I will tell you, we get introduced to probably 3 types of leaders right now. Okay. One of them is envision the leader who's had an idea, started a business, got up and running, and they're sitting at that, I don't know, $2, $3, $4, $5 million range. And they're like, okay, this business, like, I don't even know what to do next. Like, they've grown it. They're sitting there and they're kind of looking around like, what the heck is the next step? Right. And so a lot of those groups will go to EO or some of those different areas and they get those resources, right? If not, like, we can step in and kind of help design the business model and the structure and help put team members around you to go scale it. The next one is business owners like, hey, I've been at 10 million for like 3 or 4 years in a row. I've got a team, everybody's fine, but like, we just can't grow next, right? Like, a lot of things could be wrong with that one. That could be business model, people, wrong seats, whatever it is, right? But we can go and help you figure out the next steps to kind of take it to the next step there, right?
Okay.
The third one is that owner who has reached a point in his career where he's like, all right, I've either read the book Traction, which is EOS, right? So everybody hearing this would know, like, the visionary.
Yep.
Or they're in Vistage or YPO, well, probably not YPO, EO or some of these different groups. And they're like, all right, I want to be this visionary leader, but it makes no sense how I can do this. This business is designed around me, right? Then we can kind of help take those steps to kind of put the right structure and people in place to kind of help you scale past that, right? So all of those, although they sound different, it's almost always the same problem, right? It's the right structure of people in place to really help you figure out how to scale, but then it's also putting in place the right accountability so you take the steps towards it. I think that's what a lot of the different programs miss now is like an accountability to make those steps happen.
Yeah. And so what's like a timeline you would be working with a client like that? I mean, Is it a month, 6 months, 7 years?
Yeah, it varies, right? It depends on how messy it gets, right? When we first started doing this, we would work with clients in engagements that were up like 50 or 20 grand a month, right? And we would be in there non-freaking stuff. We're like, hey, that's not scalable and it doesn't help them. The more we were pulled into the weeds, the less we were able to help move the needle and actually drive growth through the company, right? Mm-hmm. And so we changed that to where we now don't charge anything close to that, right? But it also depends on, how deep do we have to get, right? Are we working with just the CEO? Are we working with the whole leadership team? Are we having to lean into operations? Are we having to lean into sales? And so it really varies on those aspects, how long it's going to take.
Okay.
I will tell you, of all the engagements we have right now, we're in that 12 to 18 month range, what engagement usually lasts. Some of these ones that we're saying now come in because we've changed it are closer to 12 below, right? Okay. Probably 9 to 12 on the most optimal end. Mm-hmm. But then we have some engagements, like as we get to a certain spot, we just kind of maintain a lighter touch, right? Sure. And we're just not quite as in deep with each client.
Do you see situations where, and I know it's, we'll say relatively new, obviously you've been doing it for a little bit, but have you had situations yet where you've gone in and you said, okay, this is how we can fix things? And whoever the owner, CEO, or leadership team is, goes,
Oh, those are my favorite ones.
Throws you the bird, says, get out the door.
Well, because I haven't had anybody throw me the bird.
Okay.
I had plenty of people disagree. Most of the time, the people we work with know there's a solution. They just aren't understanding what the steps are to get there, right? And so between Tim and I and other resources that we can pull in, we've got so much experience that we can say, okay, this is like this scenario. Like if we keep going down this path, this is what happened and this is why. And you can kind of start showing those aspects.
Yep.
I will tell you, that's my favorite part, is working with the owner. Like, what do you really want to happen? Okay. And then getting them to understand that there's probably going to be some hard steps to get there, right?
Yeah.
You might have to move out your operations person that's been involved with you for 7 years, right? You might have to, the family-owned business ones are the most entertaining. Like you might have to move your cousin or your nephew to a different role, right? I will tell you, we are not a company that comes in and just tries to blow up your system, right? We are always going to try to find a place, especially in today's age, people understand the importance of culture and what's going on. We are 100% aware of the culture. I will tell you, in most of the clients that are our most fun stories, we've gone in and they've been leadership teams of 7 or 9 or 10, right? And then we're like, okay, we're going to pare this down to like 3. You're not big enough to have 10 people in your leadership team. We've had to go in and pare those things down, and not by firing people, right? Just kind of moving them to different roles that they're actually probably happier in. Right. And really kind of getting those people into their sweet spot is where we've been the most effective.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite type of client?
I will tell you this: service-based companies or clients who have lots of things going on. Right. And so, as you could probably imagine from my previous career, right, I like chaos. Right. And those companies that are, let's skip the service-based aspect. Service-based, I like more because you can make more change in a service place because you're not having to deal with supply chain as much.
Gotcha.
Right? If you're dealing with a product that has a bunch of supply chain issues, I mean, I worked with one a number of years ago, really cool offering. We were starting to get some really good marketing, and then all of a sudden the chip thing happened everywhere in all the vehicles, and it just completely halted everything you could do, right?
Yeah.
And so you just can't influence that much. You can put the right things in place and help them, but you can influence the service space so much more. I say that, but we do have product-based companies as well. But the ones that are dealing with some kind of messy situation, right? Where if you go in, it's like the owner's just frustrated because the vision is not being built out correctly, like operations isn't keeping up, or this isn't happening, right? Because when you go into a situation where there's already chaos happening, it's a lot easier to see what's wrong, right? Because it's people really kind of shine through what's going on when things are more chaotic. And so it's funny, we've got a couple different partners we're talking to. We're like, we'd really like to introduce you to this, but it's a hot mess. I'm like, please, why not? I'd love to go meet with those people and see if we can help.
Yeah.
The other one is, just from doing this long enough, those leaders that are in that chaos could really use someone to bounce something off of.
Yeah. I can only imagine, you get at the position, and obviously my business isn't that big, but as a business owner, you're the one stuck dealing with all this stuff.
Yeah.
CEO, same thing. I mean, you're dealing with all this stuff. Whether you're answering to a board of directors or to a silent owner or whatever it is.
Right.
But to be able to have somebody that can come in and talk to you about things that are, I don't know that nobody else understands. I think people probably understand it, but to be able to have somebody who's kind of been there, done that, and go, well, have you thought about this? Or, whatever, make tweaks.
Well, my mode is always, I'm going to ask a lot of questions early, right? And as you keep asking those questions, usually I feel like a lot of the people I work with start to kind of see it themselves, right? And the most easy way to put it is if the owner gets it and feels like they've been part of the decision-making process, it's so much easier to move the needle.
Yeah.
It's the same with the leadership team, right? If the leadership team feels like they're involved and part of this decision-making process, they want to do more, right?
Yeah.
And it's instead of the one where you've got the owner who's just basically has this vision and just wants to hold people accountable, and you're skipping all the other steps in between.
Yeah. Looking back
Oh no. Okay.
on your life and career, where it is today.
Yeah.
If you could go back to any point in your life and give yourself a piece of advice, what would that be? And what age was it?
The first one that pops into my head is the one I keep beating over my head with my kids, and the only one of them has taken it, and the oldest one's proven me wrong. So it's good. As being an athlete, I wish I would have went in just with a business degree to start.
Mm.
I think that would have set me on a different trajectory once I got done playing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I tell these college kids, like my friends whose kids are going to play sports, I'm like, hey, if you don't know, if you're undecided right now, or if you don't have a passion somewhere else, start with a business degree.
Yeah.
Right. That's the easiest one. The other one I think is once I got done, I think, especially once we moved back out here and I was just like, good Lord, this is going nowhere. Right. Is to still be able to slow down and be like, hey, this is just part of it. Right. Like there is a definite journey to figuring out what you're supposed to be doing. And I feel like I've got to figure it out a little bit now, but I had a coach tell me once, he's like, as soon as you feel like you've arrived, then you're probably done. Right. And so I'm in that world where I'm like, okay, you know what? Always be learning, always be connecting, always be meeting new people, finding out new things.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite ones are when I come home after meeting someone new, and I'll go to my wife. I'm like, Casey, I don't even know people do this for a living, but it totally makes sense. I guess they got to get there somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite when you meet someone like that.
Yeah.
Like, that is fascinating to think about that as someone's career.
That's one of the things I love about doing commercial insurance is
Oh yeah.
figuring out, I mean, and these conversations as well, but figuring out, what drove you down this path? I mean, what got you to this point where you just decided one day that's what you're going to do?
Well, for you got to be like, how do I insure that?
Yeah, well,
No sense.
I do that. I get those calls. Hey, I'm thinking about, and I won't say the one that comes to my mind right now because I doubt that he would actually ever listen to this, but I'm dealing with one right now that you get I'm thinking about doing this. And you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then we're going to add in this service and this service and this service. And I'm like, okay, look, you got to pick a lane.
Yeah.
Stay in the lane, get the truck going, get it up to speed. And then once you get it up to speed, let it go for a while.
Let it run for a little.
Then you can think about adding services. It's like you get I'm a painting contractor. And then a few months later, we just bought a dump truck. And you're like, well, you're a painting contractor. What's a dump truck have to do with it? It's like,
I've seen a couple of these when they design a totally different model to manage that, different.
yeah,
Right. But when they start blending the different things, you're kind of like, oh, what are we doing?
yeah. It's like, can we just keep focused? It's so interesting you bring up the business aspect of things. When I went to school and we had to declare a major, my first major I declared was business.
Okay.
I took an accounting class and
You're like, nope,
I'm
done
with this. And then went to music. And then I was done with music, which was bad. But I actually graduated kinesiology, physiology.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's the same thing. It's like, but I was looking at it and I thought, well, I'll just be a PE teacher and a coach.
Yeah.
Because
and
what everybody told me I should do,
Yeah, mine, like I said, it was the chiropractor career was what I was planning on. But I will tell you, it helped me a lot through my playing career when like you were dealing with different injuries or I was going through training. But it made the biggest difference when I was going from playing D-line to O-line and what I had to do to change my diet. I had really good trainers and stuff, but like I'm like, I get them. It makes sense because I knew those different things from that time frame. So it helped.
That's
right?
cool.
It probably helped annoy the crap out of my kids through their sports careers and being like, it's probably this from,
Yeah.
this isn't ChatGPT or web.
Right,
This is
right.
something I actually know.
This is we're not, don't get me started on it. Yeah. Anyways,
I do still remember how to tape ankles.
you know what? I do too.
That's because I had mine taped so many more times than I think more than having to tape people's ankles.
See, and I was taping, I probably taped more than I got taped. I got taped a lot in high school.
Oh, mine's not even close. You had to be taped for every practice.
Yeah, see, no, no, we didn't. But I taped guys.
Yeah.
And in wrestling, we didn't get taped.
My daughter being like, how do you remember how to do this? I'm like, I watched this happen thousands.
Oh, you could probably do it with your eyes closed.
Yeah. I'm like, and you have a little bit more of a sprain. Can I get some moleskin? Is that still a thing? Right. Where it's like
Right.
the stronger stuff.
Yeah. We didn't even use the, what was the wrap that you put on before? The
Pre-wrap?
Yeah, pre-wrap.
Did you shave your ankles?
Oh, yeah.
Those guys?
Yeah. We had to. They wouldn't use, our school didn't have pre-wrap. So we had
We're going off the rails now. Sorry.
had to shave our ankles. That's funny. All right. You're standing in a room.
Okay.
30 seconds to motivate the crowd. What do you say?
Just any crowd?
Let's say a group of seniors in high school.
Okay. Man, I am, since I've lived it now, I am the embrace the journey guy. I mean, it is. You asked that question a minute ago, like, what would I have done differently? I was the guy that never wanted to travel or go to Europe or do things. And now I look back and I'm like, okay, we need to do more of that.
Yeah.
To where now, since we're on the other end, we just became empty nesters. It's the same thing, but it is embrace the journey. And what I tell my kids, I'm like, if you love what you're doing, right, then it's really, then you can have the impact you're going to have.
Yeah.
Right? My son, he just got done with his A&P certification, working on jets and helicopters, and got a job working for a private jet company.
It's awesome.
And he is working crazy hours, but he comes back so excited about things he's doing and what's going on. I'm like, okay, got to win on that one.
That's
right.
Yeah.
And so with the others, it's, it's the same thing. Like, what do you really want to do? What do you care about? And just start leaning into that one as much as you can.
Yeah. Very cool. What's your wife do?
She's an artist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she does abstract oil painting.
Okay.
And then she also mentors and coaches other artists as well.
Really?
Yeah. And they actually just roped her in. And the last so much she actually is coaching the mentors in this program. The group that she trained with for years, Milan Art Institute. I'll give them a free plug, guys.
Yeah.
They're originally from out here. They moved on to like this massive online program and platform. And so, yeah, pretty cool experience.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So she does abstract oil painting and then the coaching. And now we're trying to figure out traveling is what we're trying to
Does
figure
she
out.
have a studio in the house? It's like filled with paint.
She does have a studio. It is starting to outgrow the studio. We're going to figure out how to expand that bad boy. But I keep telling her we have a bunch of empty rooms now.
Yeah.
With kids moving up to school. We just start moving in there.
You just clean out the room. Next time they get home, you're like, what?
Yeah. But yes, there's plenty of paint and artwork throughout the studio.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's next for Fred on the agenda? What do you got going?
We're trying to figure out the next step to really have the impact we want to have with Thrive CXO. I mean, most of our engagements now are more on the consulting side.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, my business partner, his passion is around community and coaching.
Okay.
And so the reason the website launch is taking longer, and yes, that's another dig, Tim, I know he'll listen because he'll want to know what I said, is because we're trying to figure out how to make that reach happen faster, right?
Okay.
And kind of developing like a community platform where people can share more, right? So we're trying to figure out kind of the steps to evolve to something like that.
Now, you're not just in Arizona, right? You're across the country.
Yeah. Yes. I'm trying to figure out how far. We've had clients in Atlanta and Florida. I've got a prospect in Boston I'm working to try to get closed right now. They could also be a partner, pretty neat company up there, Minnesota, California. I mean, yeah, pretty much. That's the good thing that happened with COVID is people got a lot more receptive to doing things online.
Yeah.
And so we can do so many different meetings and be more effective online. But I still like to travel and go meet some of these folks and see where they're at as well.
Get out there.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, hey, I really appreciate having you on.
No, this has been fun.
Interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask that I need to know? I mean, you are kind of a celebrity.
Oh, Lordy. This is where I was afraid we'd go down. No, this has been fun, right? I mean, I'm new to the group that we're a part of here, kind of excited to explore that. So this has been fun to get to know you and kind of sit here a little bit more as well.
Yeah. Well, and it's good to get your story out. We'll get it out, and see if
I did not realize that I was following the Youper when I saw this. And so I'm like, oh, am I coming out right after him? Gosh, dang it.
You're coming out pretty quick after that. So the dude.
I know. I saw how you titled that one. I was like, oh, that was a good one. Well done.
I couldn't figure out, everybody else is like, this is their job title. What do they do? What's their business? And like Youper, he's just kind of the dude.
Next time I see him, I'm just going to tell him that, by the way.
Dude. That's awesome. Well, hey, I got you a gift because everybody gets a gift.
Nice.
So for coming on, I really appreciate it. I've had a good time getting to know you a little bit better. I mean, we've had a couple conversations, but yeah.
We'll have, am I opening it on air here?
Yeah. Open it up. I mean, I think it only gives it justice, but it has been.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Yeah. So a little tumbler.
Those are good. Well done, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice.
Like
I said,
cocktail.
Hopefully later in the week. Trying to be a little better this week.
Do it every other night. But anyways, well, hey, thank you very much.
No, thanks. It's been great. Really appreciate it.
Awesome.
This is Fred Wakefield, and I went above and beyond.
Palm Springs to Pine Top Grace, APN's network spell. work, we truly thrive.
Like, share, and subscribe to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. Elevate your mindset, one episode at a time.